Oh, hi. How you do? What's up, everyone? How you do? How's it going? I got a lot done today except for a haircut. I was hoping to have a haircut done today too, but unfortunately by the time I got everything else done, the haircut place had no appointments left. So I was like, well, so much for that. I guess I'll have to wait till next week. I'm just happy that my car is now legal. When are we gonna get to Final Fantasy Resonance? I don't know. What platforms is FF Resonance gonna be on? Because like I was under the impression that that was a Switch 2 exclusive, so it's gonna be a long time before we get to it. Oh no, here we go. Okay, it's on everything. I don't know. Probably after the FF7 remake. If I had to guess. Do we have a release date for this sucker? I think they just said like, I think they gave like a season. But yeah, I see it here. Standard edition, digital, available Steam, Xbox Series, PlayStation, physical PS5, Switch. Okay, that is actually really entertaining. They are not doing a digital version for the Switch 2. In fact, I actually want to take a look at oh, it's a game key card. Okay, so it's a blank cartridge. That's unfortunate. All right, so it's not a physical copy, it's a lie. Yeah, it's a game key card for the Switch 2. So it's it's bullshit. But they are putting it on Steam, and I trust Steam more than I do Nintendo. Yeah, that's why it's important to like look at these things. That little like black box with a key in it is because I mean if you're gonna get in my opinion, if you're gonna get a game key card, you might as well just get the frickin' digital version then, rather than have the lie. Because it's the downside of both worlds. You need the cartridge to play it, and you still need the space on the console to play it. It's the worst of all worlds. It's such bullshit. All right, we don't have a lot of time at all, so we got to get to this like right away. So let me get my notes. And let's get to this. 3, 2, 1. Come today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Ad block on Chrome may be coming to an end. Apple's WWDC was pretty much 100% all about AI. Xbox and Nintendo announced their new games for the summer, and SpaceX finally has an IPO. All that and more coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Three, two, one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, North 2 a.m. Got about this Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. We got a lot to talk about today. But first, probably the thing that people are going to be the most concerned about, because we have a lot to talk about and we have very little time to do it because I had to do errands all day today. So unfortunately, it's cutting into my record time. It just is unfortunate. And honestly, a lot of this can be summarized into a couple of words. Like for instance, this story is going to get a lot more traction assuming things go as expected. We might be seeing the end of all ad blockers currently known on Google Chrome. Google is pulling what is known as Manifest v2 extensions off the entire app system. This means that all current ad blocking systems on Chrome, including uBlock Origin and the one I totally don't use, uBlock Lite, are going to cease to function. This means that the core component that pretty much all ad blockers use is going to be gone. And it looks like that move is going to be coming very, very soon. So what does this mean? Well, it means that first off, it might be time to go switch to Firefox. I'm just saying. We've been hearing all this stuff about how Chrome's doing this monopolistic thing, that monopolistic thing, this thing for their own benefit, that thing for their own benefit. Everything runs on Chromium. Maybe it's time to use Firefox. I'm just saying. Just saying. But also it means that the people who do make ad blockers they're just going to have to get more creative. And that's really the big thing that this boils down to. When push comes to shove, this is a game of cat and mouse, all right? We could go ahead and just feed into the headlines. Ad block is going to die forever. Now we're going to be subjected to unusable websites with ads. Oh. Or ad blockers are just going to find a new way to operate. It's option 2, by the way. It is option 2. Or, you know, more and more people are just going to rely on the wonderful tool known as AI to go ahead and get information from sites that use way too many ads and make their sites unusable to just go ahead and get what they need anyway. Which then also means they're going to be subjected to more misinformation because, of course, AI is completely flawless and never, ever just makes nonsense up. No, never. Never. For legal reasons, that's a joke. It always does. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. So it just means that we're going to have to go ahead and hunt down a new form of ad blocking or switch to Firefox. We're probably just going to switch to Firefox, let's be honest. Speaking of alternatives, Signal and DuckDuckGo are now looking at openly protesting the lawful access bill in Canada. Canada is proposing a bill known as Bill C-22 that allows the government to go ahead and gather all kinds of information from companies located within Canada. Okay. Signal and DuckDuckGo both operate in Canada and are now threatening to pull their HQs out of Canada. That's pretty much all there really is to it right now. I don't blame them for that sort of thing, especially since both of these companies, you know, focus on company privacy, and if they operate in a country that goes ahead and I said company privacy, user privacy is what I actually meant. I'm sorry for the misspeak there, but the companies that go ahead and pride on privacy, but then headquartering in a country that just lets the country go ahead and spy on whatever they're doing. Doesn't really go over well. So yeah, I mean, they're gonna go ahead and do what is best for their business. We'll have to see how that evolves down the road. It's gonna be interesting. We'll have to wait and see how it all goes down. In other words, I'm sorry. In other news, I like trying to rush everything because I only have so much time to get everything in. I'm just like flubbing like nobody's business. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Windows 11 is pushing out an update that is actually, believe it or not, useful. This is called the Windows 11 CPU Performance Boost. This will allow Windows to go ahead and spike the CPU usage to high rates when going ahead and trying to do basic functions. The whole point of this is to kind of wake up the CPU outside of their like super low power states. So modern CPUs, if you don't know, they do one of two things. They either A, operate on a big little architecture, meaning that there's a bunch of little ultra low power processor cores that are slow and sip very, very little power, or the CPU cores reach an ultra low power usage state, clock very, very low, and perform very slowly. What this low latency profile mode is supposed to do is basically kind of shock the system into engaging high power mode so that when you do basic things, the entire computer responds snappier. Now for desktops and workstations, this is a huge win. Okay, no more are you just like getting on your computer, doing ahead and do minor things, and then be like, I want to go do this, and the computer hesitates. You've probably had this before, right? You're going to open up something new, and just even going through the windows and the folders, the computer like hesitates going into something that's like, oh, well, oh, yeah, to do that. This is supposed to eliminate that. Now, on mobile devices, on mobile devices such as laptops and tablets, this does mean lower battery life. Someone in chat says, meanwhile, other operating systems have done this for a while. Yes and no. They do things similar to this, but a lot of their operating systems still have that moment of hesitation because they tried to go ahead and have a happy medium. Windows 11 implementation of this is almost a brute force approach, because that's how Windows operates right now. Windows operates basically on a subtle as a sledgehammer approach, which is why when they have bugs, they are big, heavy bugs that could only be done through vibe coding. And the reason I state it like this is because as I was about to say, on portable devices, this will have a noticeable battery drain. Now, it doesn't mean like your battery life is going to be cut in half. Nothing that drastic. But you might notice you get like a half hour less battery power. And in some cases, that might matter. In the case of, like, say, my mobile workstation, that's not gonna matter. If it gets 20% less battery life, that just means that it's going to last 28 minutes instead of 30 minutes. You need to plug the sucker in anyway. What does it matter? But, you know, if you're, you know, on the go a lot, don't have the charger, and you're missing out on a full hour, that might matter more. And of course, in typical Microsoft fashion, they did in fact botch this. because you want to know if you have this feature yet or not. You don't. They're doing a staggered rollout of this. And there's no way to know if this feature is implemented on your copy of Windows 11. Classic. Just classic. So, I mean, as far as Microsoft flubs go, this is kind of minor, but it's still just head-shakingly bad that they are this much of amateurs this late in the game. It is incredible. Meanwhile, though, let's talk about other operating systems, mainly Apple. Are you ready for this? WWDC was this week, and I'm willing to bet you probably wondered, where was my breaking news episode of WWDC? It's all of Apple's software updates. It's major news. You cover major news and breaking news episodes, Eagle. Where was the episode for this? First off, I'm clocking in like 60 hours this week at work, all right? I got a lot going on. Please, a little bit of forgiveness. And second, there's nothing to talk about. As far as like noteworthy changes, here's all there was. One, for all Glass UI they are implementing for iOS and iPadOS, you can change the opacity. A feature that should have been there from the get-go. What a crazy concept. And second, all they introduced was the fact that Siri is going to run on Apple Intelligence, and now Apple Intelligence is going to be powered by Google. And here's the thing. I have no interest in talking about their hour-long spiel about how AI is their future when the last time they introduced AI as their future, none of it came true. So what motivation do I have to rehash their entire conversation about how AI is the future of Apple when the last time AI was the future of Apple, it went ahead and was the worst implementation of AI we have ever seen? Their last iteration was so bad that the first iteration of Will Smith eating spaghetti generated by AI looked more like usable AI. So yeah, that whole thing I just mentioned about how you'll be able to adjust the opacity of glass of the glass on iOS and iPadOS, that really is the best feature that was announced. Oh yeah, the next macOS is gonna be called Golden Gate. The end. I swear, the coasts need to stop drinking all of this AI Kool-Aid, especially the West Coast. It's not healthy for them. Also, I still stand by the fact that macOS should still be named after cats. Look, macOS Snow Leopard, best name for an operating system. That was fantastic. But what can I say? It just is what it is. I'm not reading chat right now. By the way, if you want to talk about drinking a little too much of the Kool-Aid, Red Lobster wants to go ahead and make themselves relevant again. Their new CEO, or their current CEO, I don't know which it is, Damela Adamolkan. I apologize only slightly if I mispronounce that name. Says that he is going to go ahead and make Red Lobster the most AI forward restaurant company that exists. Period. What does that mean? Like, they're going ahead and saying that AI is going to go ahead and play a massive role in their revitalization. All right, let me tell you about something, okay? Red Lobster just came out of a massive restructuring bankruptcy, all right? And the main reason they got out of this massive restructuring bankruptcy is because they were bought by a parent company that wanted to go ahead and off-sell a whole lot of extra seafood from their parent company. Try to do all you can eat offerings, and those turned out to be massive loss leaders to the point where their restaurants were hemorrhaging money and put Red Lobster into massive debt, and then they were sold off. Now they're trying to go ahead and revitalize themselves. But the idiot in charge now just believes that AI is the way forward. Did you look at Pizza Hut? Pizza Hut franchise owners right now are suing their parent company that demanded they use their AI system to manage their deliveries because it lost them millions of dollars. The list of cons of the use of AI currently is limitless. The pros are very quickly finding out to be false. Countless customers of AI are finding out that the savings they were promised by using AI instead of giving that work to humans turned out their costs for utilizing the AI instead of people were drastically higher than just hiring the person. Like, to me, the only use case you have for trying to go ahead and utilize AI in a business like this is strictly in reservations and advertising. Like, what else could you possibly do? Right now, the only thing, I swear, the only thing keeping Red Lobster afloat is the product side of their business, selling those boxes of the Cheddar Bay biscuit mix on big grocery store shelves. Which, by the way, ice cold take, those Cheddar Bay biscuits, worlds better than the Olive Garden breadstick. You cannot convince me otherwise, and those who believe the other way are incorrect. Bold restaurant chain statements here on this tech podcast. I might be slightly biased because I'm from Wisconsin and, you know, Cheddar Bay biscuits has the word cheddar in it. There might be some bias there, but I'm still correct. So yeah, we'll see what Red Lobster does with this, but I hate to break it to you, like, it doesn't, the odds don't look good. Oh. But here, you want some news that actually is good? New York, a state right now known for complete and utter chaos because the Knicks are actually like doing good in the NBA for the first time in 12 lifetimes. I actually have no idea how long it's actually been, but I just keep hearing things. In any case, the state of New York is actually making one incredibly based decision. There is a bill being pushed through to put a moratorium or a temporary ban on constructing large data centers within the state of New York. Good. I think that is a fantastic decision. I think the massive overscaling of all these data centers for specifically AI, and without any consideration about where they're going, just scaling more and more and more and more, doing it more and more and more with more debt, creating a bigger and bigger bubble that's going to go ahead and collapse more and more, I think is a no-brainer. I think more states should do this. That's just my opinion. But I'm not going to lie. I find it kind of interesting that the only state to agree with me is New York. Why can't my own state get behind this? But yes, it is good, regardless of who it is, to see some pushback against these massive, large data centers. In other news, Anthropic is rolling out a new version of their rolls out a public version of their Mythos AI without all the cybersecurity concerns. This is being dubbed as Fable 5. Not to be confused with the Microsoft game Fable, of which I'm not gonna lie, a lot of us RPG enjoyers would like to see Fable get relaunched and go back to its roots. Unfortunately, we have very little hope of that. I'm sorry, Fable enjoyers. I just got to tell you like it is. My hopes for a good Fable game are they're digging to the center of the earth. So we'll have to see what happens. But in any case, this new one, Fable 5, is supposed to be basically Mythos, their latest version of their AI that is of their Mythos AI without all the cybersecurity concerns that could go ahead and just break into anything. So, I mean, yay, I guess, for AI enjoyers out there. We'll have to see how this AI performs, because always my biggest gripe with AI is twofold. One, AI is comically inefficient for what it does, but also makes way too many mistakes compared to what they promise. Like, those are my two biggest gripes. And quite frankly, I feel those are two very valid gripes. If you're going to go ahead and push out a product, it needs to be good at what it does. And unfortunately, most AI does not live up to its own hype. And then second, the amount of power it consumes is comically inefficient. Like, I guarantee you, if large businesses were running these own data centers for themselves and actually monitored their own numbers and did their own cost-benefit analysis, they wouldn't do it. I guarantee it. But we're doing the Silicon Valley approach, where we go ahead and first get people hooked on the technology at low prices, and then frog boil them into accepting the crazy high prices, and then a lot of people abandon ship. That's pretty much how a lot of this goes. And you're looking at me right now realizing that's what most tech does. Yeah, kinda. That just is what it is. Offering at near zero cost, then all of a sudden, all your data is being sold, and all of a sudden that Discord company that was that was hemorrhaging money is now making money hand over fist using your data, while still selling you stickers. By the by, in other news, Deezer has put out a new AI tool that can go ahead and identify AI music on Spotify, Apple Music, and many others. And honestly, I'm very interested. Because let me tell you, granted, it's getting harder nowadays to identify AI videos. One thing that's always been pretty difficult for the average person, identifying AI music. It's kind of crazy just how difficult it is. So a tool that can help identify it, hey, I'm all for it. We'll have to see how well it goes. Also depends how much they charge for it. I mean, any number above zero and I'm probably going to lose interest. I'm not going to lie. Oh, by the by, in case you didn't think it was being done, YouTube in recent conversations had to re-emphasize the fact that YouTube's terms of service allow all music on the YouTube platform to be used to train AI models. Just in case you thought your stuff was safe on YouTube. Spoiler alert, it never has been. It will in fact be used to train AI. So anyway, look forward to my new single, me headbanging my head on a piano and uploading it to YouTube to go ahead and poison the AI well. It's a work in progress title. Probably shouldn't make it as obvious as it is. No, I'm not saying you should go ahead and upload garbage music to go ahead and train AI services on how to make music poorly. First off, because I don't think that'll work. But second, I will find it hilarious. I'll find it very, very hilarious. In other news, Meta has now gone full meta. And in fact, now has gone ahead and started making their own AI-generated clickbait news feeds to inject into Facebook newsfeed articles. So now instead of Facebook relying on users to fall for clickbait AI-generated slop, now Meta will inject it for themselves again. Cool. We're going to take our break here. When we come back, I want to get to some of the video gaming news, because there is actually quite a bit of some very interesting stuff. Don't go anywhere. We will be back. When are we getting Chrono Trigger HD 2D? I have no idea. I've said this in the past. I kind of don't want a Chrono Trigger HD 2D. Just cause the art style and sprite work of Chrono Trigger is a lot of the reason why it got its charm. And I feel like an HD 2D version of that would probably take away from it, but I don't know, maybe I'll be wrong. I can't handle the future. But that's the thing, like, the beauty of Chrono Trigger is the fact that it is a product of its time. If I could give my left nut to remake or reboot a game, what would you choose? I choose my left nut. I like having two nuts. Two nuts is better than one. Now, if it's someone else's left nut, it would most likely end up being FF6, honestly. FF6, I would love to see done in that HD 2D style, because it really does go to that, with it's already existing in mode 7 sort of thing. You'd love an FF6 HD2D remake with all the content of the GBA version. I don't know if I'd want the extra stuff or not. Maybe. You remember when 80s or 90s thin? Like, I think if you're gonna go ahead and remember an older property, it's best to remember as how it was back then. If you want something done in a newer style, by all means, let's get some new properties. Let's go ahead and see an FF17 return to its older roots. Let's go ahead and see that sort of stuff. Have it be beautiful again, rather than it just for Final Fantasy to try and be something that it's not. Because I mean, let's be brutally honest. Final Fantasy does not make for a very good action RPG. They've done a few of these now, and you know, they're not doing great. All right, let's go and finish things up. All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so Xbox had their Xbox Game Showcase for 2026. And, well, the headlines were pretty good, all right? I mean, you had a new Gears of War, you know, Call of Duty, whatever. Mention of Halo, Fable reboot, Minecraft Dungeons 2, State of Decay 3, Spyro seeing a return. That was a huge surprise. Persona 6 being acknowledged that it's a thing that is thought about. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know a whole lot about Persona. My knowledge of Persona as far as RPGs go is, I'll admit, kind of on the low side. But so far, all we know about Persona 6 is that there's a sixth one at some point. And that was pretty much it. Also, Crazy Taxi is getting either a new game or a reboot. I'm not entirely sure which. I'm not too familiar on that. Someone in chat says 6 is Royal. No. Persona 5 Royale is an enhanced version of Persona 5. Persona 6 is a brand new game. So Persona, the way it works is that a lot of the Personas have like either spin-off games or also the same game with stuff added on. Think of that as just like the base game with an expansion on it. It's kind of their way of trying to sell the same game twice. Yeah, Persona 4 had Persona 4 Golden. Persona 5 had Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royale. Persona 3, I'm sure, did the same thing. Persona 2 and 1, I don't think did, but that was kind of when the series was just kind of getting out of trying to get to a more friendly audience. But anyway, that is kind of all the things that were kind of announced at the Xbox Game Showcase, which, you know, good for them. I would say that is definitely a big good for them. Oh yeah, also there was a Persona 5, what do they call it? Persona 4 Revival. That I guess is a remake of the whatever. Destiny 2 also got their last update, and funny enough, Destiny 2's last update caused Destiny 2 to hit their highest user totals that even outdid their newest property that's supposed to be the future of Bungie, which is Marathon. The patch of you discontinuing Destiny 2 outdid Marathon, which is insane. Someone in chat said it was 10 users. No. I actually don't know what I don't have the numbers in front of me, actually, what the users were for Destiny 2. Destiny 2's users, it was actually impressive. Yeah, their peak of recently is, oh, no, that's their all-time peak. Their most recent peak is 167,867 users. Compared to the month just before that at 28,510 users. Comparing that to Marathon, which currently has 12,373 users. Destiny 2, with their end of life patch, is doing 10 times the users of their supposed future. Someone in chat says, can someone tell me what Persona 5 Strikers is? Oh, that's easy. Spin-off. All right, back to Destiny 2. It's actually kind of insane that Destiny 2 is doing those kind of numbers, reaching end of life, but Bungie wants to go ahead and put resources into Marathon that is doing worse now than even Destiny 2 was last month. Somebody in chat wants Team Fortress 2 numbers. Team Fortress 2's numbers I know are going to be pretty good. Oh, wow, that's nowhere near as good as I thought it was going to be. Only 48,025. In the last 24 hours, their peak was 58,639. Someone in chat said Strikers is a sequel to P5? Atlas is weird. But in any case, yeah, Destiny 2 is, yeah. Destiny 2 is, it's kind of funny how they're just doing nowhere near as good as they hoped. Or, I mean, Marathon is, but Destiny 2 is actually still doing a lot. Nintendo also had their Nintendo Direct, and there were some surprises in there. The big thing that everyone's talking about is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That is getting a remake for the Nintendo Switch 2. There was also a teaser for Kingdom Hearts 4, acknowledging that Square did not in fact kill Kingdom Hearts 4. It does in fact exist. There is going to be a new Xenoblade game, Xenoblade Genesis. Nintendo Switch Sports Resort. Paid DLC for Pokemon Pokopia. The announcement that Deltarune is getting their chapter 5. I don't know if that's their last chapter or not. I haven't been following that nearly as close as I should. FromSoft is introducing Duskbloods, also on the Switch. Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be getting a limited time challenge event, as well as classic Donkey Kong titles coming to Switch Online. A re-showing off of the new Star Fox game. Orbitals, of course, getting another show. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave shown off. Onimusha Way of the Sword is getting Splatoon is getting a new game in the form of Splatoon Raiders. Rhythm Heaven Groove. Dragon Quest Monsters getting a presentation. And there's two actually here that aren't mentioned here. One of which is I want to actually make sure I got the actual title correct for this. Final Fantasy Resonance, which is going to be an HD, which is in their HD 2D style. That's going to be sprites on a 3D background. That's kind of something you see, more. That's something you see more in like games like Octopath, but they're bringing that to a Final Fantasy, which, okay, we'll see how well it goes. Maybe it'll be really big. I don't know. We'll take a look and see how that goes. And here's actually probably one of the biggest surprises of the Nintendo Direct that did not get shown in any version of the Nintendo Direct except the Japanese version. And that is Touhou. Yeah. There is a Touhou 6 embodiment of the Scarlet Devil remake coming to the Nintendo Switch and Steam. For those of you that are in the know with Touhou, this is Touhou 6 that is getting a remake and coming with an official translation to English, but only shown in the JP version of the Direct. But that'll be available on Steam for those who don't want to get a Switch too. So if you like going ahead and playing games where you have to dodge rain, you can finally do it. Officially. You've been able to do it officially for a while, but no one talks about it. So that's actually kind of neat. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of Touhou. I'm a big fan of dodging rain. More news regarding the Steam Frame is coming out. Manifests are showing that, in fact, the VR headset of Valve is in fact being shipped, and saying that the release may be coming soon. But beyond that, we know almost nothing. We do know, however, that Valve has killed physical gift cards. You can no longer get Steam physical gift cards. Valve has made this decision because they are being used way too much for scams. So they feel it is better off to simply switch to online only gift cards. Interesting. I do wonder if that's going to be a trend that catches on. It'll be very, very interesting to see if any other company does this. I kind of doubt it, but we'll have to see. Someone in chat says that it's just supposed to be less middleman. I kind of doubt it. It might be a cost savings thing, but no, physical gift card scams are absurdly common. That is like the tool of choice for scammers to get their money. It's actually kind of comical. SpaceX also had their IPO, which, the opening price is going to be 555.6 million shares at $135 each, meaning the IPO is set to raise $24.9 billion. This would also, on paper, make Elon Musk the world's first trillionaire. Zone in chat asks, how many did I buy? The only stock option I was able to do was buying a Powerball lottery ticket for $2. We'll see how well that works for me. That's the most amount of stock investing I can do at this time. In other news, we have a little bit of... Someone in chat says that was done Friday. He got his... No, that is not how that works. He does not have $1 trillion. His estimated value is $1 trillion. He does not have $1 trillion. There is a very distinct difference in this, and it's one thing that a lot of people don't catch up on. Okay? Yes, that's why I said on paper it makes him a trillionaire, because on paper it does. It does not mean that he has a mattress filled with $1 trillion or a bank vault that has $1 trillion in it. But yes, he is on paper a trillionaire. And like, I'm sure you know that. I know that. But I feel it's important to, if I do this, why is the camera like going dim? That's weird. But I feel it's important to kind of state that difference lately, because far too many people get the wrong idea when it comes to that. So that's why I go ahead and say that, because the details do matter. Kind of like how the details do matter that Donut Lab, who allegedly had the first solid state battery, it turned out it is not a solid state battery. It's just a regular lithium ion battery. Wah, 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 wah. So for those who don't know, solid state battery is supposed to be, in the future, the way that batteries are going to be going. All right, solid state technology means that there is less wasted space and much higher battery density. This is going to be the technology that lets a lot of our current technology get past some of the barriers it has. In fact, this is one of the biggest barriers right now that electric cars have. Is first off, battery longevity, which a solid-state battery is theoretically supposed to solve by lasting much longer than lithium polymer, lithium ion. But also the fact you can get a lot more power in a lot less space. So like right now, a lot of electric vehicles only get between 200 and 400 miles. Some even getting less. Solid state batteries would fix that, letting them get well above what an internal combustion engine can get, but also do it at a lot less weight. This is the sort of technology that could make electric semi-trucks a real thing. Unfortunately, what we thought was going to be the breakthrough we've been looking for in this theoretical technology turns out to be a massive lie. Wah, wah. Now, I feel like we talked about this before, but the date on this shows that we couldn't do. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the last bird, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Windows 95 on a TI graphing calculator. Just in case you needed more capability on your graphing calculator. Now, unfortunately, this is not going to be... This is not a very, very fast way of going things. The processor on a TI graphing calculator is very, very slow. And Windows 95 does not run very well on it. But you raise a very compelling argument. 5 minutes boot time or 7 minutes boot time is awful. However, I have a great counterpoint. Ski free on your calculator. I'll tell you right now, you would have been the coolest kid in school back in my day with that. Unfortunately, now we have smartphones, so that's kind of a moot point nowadays. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening. And I do encourage you to check out my other works, youtube.com/EagleFalcon and twitch.tv/EagleFalcon. Take care. And I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye. Now, getting Windows 95 on there is great and all, but of course, the no-brainer is, of course, now you got to install Doom, which, you know, that's not hard at all right? You already got Doom running on a graphing calculator before. Now you got Windows 95 on it. Getting Doom on top of that, no problem. Easy peasy. However, let's think outside the box for a minute. Let's get Touhou 6 on the graphing calculator before the Touhou 6 remake comes out. That. I don't know what that would accomplish, but I just want to see it happen. Because nobody tries to get Touhou to run on things that aren't normal. That's it. Podcast in the books. We're going to go ahead and take a break here. Get up and stretch, everyone. We'll be back.